And we're live! Live!
For
Live!
now. Hello, live watchers and VOD viewers. Today is a very special day because Coolster has some prior obligations. We are actually going to do something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that's playing the completely improvised tabletop RPG You Awaken in a Strange Place, or YASP. And with me, of course, are Pizza and Ant here.
Yay!
And me, Francisca, the game master, as per usual. And the way this works is that each of us have 2d6, which will be everything we're going to need in terms of stats enrollment. And the rest is going to come straight from our noggins.
Yay!
Now, first things first, I'm going to need both of you to roll your 2d6 and then tell me what number you get.
Oh, I have a 12.
Pizza?
A 4 and a 6 out of 10.
That means Antir. We're going to be setting up the world now.
Ooh.
Meaning, I want each of us to think of, Antia, think of a genre, please.
A genre.
Pizza, think of an adjective to describe a genre, like a modifier. And I'm going to be thinking of a location. And once you've all thought of something, we're going to get through the order, and each of you are going to tell me what you got. So, what kind of genre have you been thinking of, or do you need some more time?
I'm thinking of stuff I can make pizza suffer.
I was thinking the same thing, but how about you?
My genre is high school drama.
High school drama. Let me write that down. What is your adjective, Pizza?
Grungy.
That is very good. And my location is... Now, we all thought of something very teenage angst related. I'm going to have to change my mind on that, I think. Space colony!
Alright!
Grungy high school drama in space colony.
In space. Now.
In space!
In space!
In space.
Very good. Hey, Alandiro. You've joined us for the fun, I see. Now, each of us is going to make up a statement about this world. You say something, and it is true about the world. It can be anything from, we have flying dogs that abduct children, or there's a nearby volcano that is semi-eruptive, or this is like Beastars where everyone is an anthropomorphic animal. And each of you can pick a statement about the world that is true, and think of it, and then we're going to go through the same order again.
Oh, God.
So, Antir, have you thought of a fact?
Not yet. I'm having too much fun to think already.
Oh god, even my Twitch is in Russian. Ow!
What's to say now? Everything is in Russian just to bully pizza further.
Okay.
Have you thought of something, Ant-Man?
Everything is in Russian.
Oh god.
What you mean is we're like in a post-Soviet space colony.
Exactly.
Everything is in Russian. Just the text, right? Otherwise, we're just gonna say it for flavor, which is also fine.
Yeah, just the text is fine.
Do you think all of our characters can speak Russian?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so it's literally just we're just in space Russia or
Exactly.
space whatever other place
Space
speaks
Soviet
Russian.
bloc.
Space Soviet bloc. Pizza. What's your fact?
All adults, so beyond 2021, just disappear. This is Lord of the Flies shit.
Oh. Ooh.
Just vanish.
Interesting. kind of a bit of a horror story.
Yeah, exactly.
And my fact is, 1 out of 10 children have telekinesis.
Do the children with telekinesis disappear under 21? Yes.
So now we kind of find a way to put it all together, but I think, how do you spell telekinesis? Okay, I got it.
Bagler. Very cool.
Bagel.
Okay, in summary, everything is in Russian. All adults past 21 disappear. 1 out of 10 children are born with telekinesis. There's a grungy school drama in space. So what Pizza said is, it's set in a post-Soviet space colony. I'm gonna say it's like an apocalyptic kind of setting where adults keep disappearing, all the children have gotten together, fending for themselves in the school.
So are the teachers then also children? Ah.
Suppose there aren't any teachers then, huh?
Oh,
They're just adolescents before they disappear.
adolescent, the final 3 years of your life are spent studying, teaching.
The colony. I'm just gonna say that children with telekinesis are feared but also respected, and nobody fucks with them.
Makes sense.
Gonna call them psionics. And children are left to fend for themselves. Beautiful. Now, moving on, we've got kind of a world now. It's set on a space colony, but I was gonna say it's set within a school,
Mm-hmm.
like a high school, as Anta said. Good. That's some good drama right there. Now, please, all of you, both of you, please roll your dice again.
Oof. Nope. That's a 7 this time.
5 and 1, so 6.
Anta, please describe your character.
Uh, I'm looking at the example. I'm go- I'm going to go for a smart nerdy kid with some issues talking,
What?
some issues talking smoothly.
Oh
Okay.
god. I has a cat actually.
Ooh, cat.
Hang on.
Oh, are we getting a boy cam already?
Yeah, we're getting a boy camera ready. I has a cat.
Need to make sure the setup for the boy cam is working properly.
While we look at the boy, Anta, please name your character.
Julius Maximus.
It has to be a Russian name, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I know. Dimitri.
Dmitri.
Yes. Let's see, is the
Got
boy
it.
cam working?
Oh, my cat is standing on.
And Pizza, it's your turn. You can describe your character.
Oh.
Boy cam.
My character is a general nerd also, but also does shooting for a hobby.
Of course.
Of course, that has to be there. And he's called Volodymyr. That's about it.
Demir. Nerdy jock.
Hi, Jeff. Yes, we have
Loves
Bagel.
to shoot. Loves archery.
Well, shooting in general, just firearms as well. Just space colony, so you know.
Yeah, you got those fancy laser compound bows. Okay.
Them space
Anta,
crossbows.
I need from you 4 skills. First of all, these will be the skills we use in the game. So first of all, please Give me a skill that you are very good at.
Maths.
Math.
Math.
That's gonna be you're gonna have a
Oh.
+2 on rolls for maths. Now
Bagels
give me a skill that you're kind of good at.
Chewing bubble gum.
Chewing bubble gum.
Is that even a
Bagel is
stat?
gone, by the way.
Aw, no more boy cam.
You're gonna
Oh, wait.
have a +1 on all your chewing gum rolls. Pizza, I'm going to need you to add all of the skills I've just said and write +0 next to them.
Chewing math. And what was the other one?
No, we had mathematics and chewing bubble gum.
Okay.
Okay, Ante, please give me a skill that you're kind of bad at.
Presentations.
Presentations.
Ah,
You're gonna have a
bagels.
-1 on those.
Yes.
And now give me a skill that you're terrible at.
Rope climbing.
Rope climbing. It's gonna be fun. I'm can guarantee you we have like 2 hours for this game. We're not gonna get to all of them, but I think it's very funny that we can just kind of get everything we want.
It's also
Vladimir.
so specific.
So shooting is of course a +1.
Shooting, you are gonna be our party's
Shooters.
sniper. Shooter. What's a skill you're only kind of good at?
Wow. Brain. I guess generally research, like reading.
Reading. I love reading. You get a +1 on all your reading
I
checks.
have a 0 in all
Give
my
me a
reading
skill you're
now.
kind of bad at, Vladimir.
What is the shooting? What's like the primary tag? Is that +2?
Yeah, you get a +2 on shooting and a
Okay.
+1 on reading.
Kind of bad at what's it called? Not socializing. Yeah, I guess socializing.
Socializing. Which means you're worse at socializing than our awkward Dimitri.
Yes.
And a fourth skill that you're really bad at.
Socializing is -1, right?
Socializing is -1, yes.
Yeah. Completely bad at.
What was the last one? Completely?
I'm trying to think of
Ah,
one.
I thought it was a skill already.
No, I'm thinking.
Completing things.
Completely
I
things.
suck
Oh,
at that.
awful. I'm delaying.
Okay.
I guess. Wow. I hate coming up with this kind of stuff.
You're so bad at finding things you're bad at because they're good at everything.
No, I'm not good at everything. Far from it. Playing music. I'm just going to be playing music.
Playing music. You get a -2 on all your playing music checks. Okay, and then I'm going to give you 4 more skills that you can add to your character sheet with +0. I'm going to say asking questions. Suffering.
Wow.
That's a skill.
That's a skill that if you're bad at it, that's a good thing.
We just suffer
Suffer.
averagely.
I guess this is just a different
I guess it's
naming
also
of...
like an enduring skill. Like,
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like
or something.
endurance or constitution. So.
Soviet history. And of course, kissing.
Wow.
You have plans.
No,
I don't
it's
like where this
just
is going.
in all of the streams that I've seen of people playing this game, kissing has always been a skill. That's really funny. I'm just gonna add the rest. Maths. Chewing gum. Presentation.
My handwriting is so shit.
rope climbing, reading, no, shooting, then reading. Hmm. Reading, socializing, playing music.
Oh my, this is.
So in grand total, we have 12 skills, those being asking questions, suffering, Soviet history, kissing, maths, chewing gum, presentation, rope climbing, shooting, reading, socializing, and playing music.
I hope that is not coming through too much because Bagel's playing.
And my pizza just arrived. Delicious.
Oh, 2 pizzas. Ah, panic.
3 actually. I'm eating 2. I'm hungry.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Also,
Which one?
I'm looking at what you need to do as a GM in this game, and damn, you need to be creative for this.
Well, you know me. Okay,
I
so
kind of
we have
picture-
each of you have 12 skills, and as a little bonus, every time you fail a skill challenge with that skill, you gain a +1 bonus forever.
On that skill.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Say that a pizza has a shooting check, and he fails it. That means on the next shooting check he'll have a +3.
Nice.
Fair enough.
And the way that checks work here is that we don't have a yeah, fail to win. Jeff gets it. That's one of the
So this is politics. Feel your way up.
This is my
actually no,
career.
it's rising up in the Amazon management hierarchy. Whoa, hey, that's a joke.
Hey.
If my managers are watching this, that's a joke.
If they aren't, fuck you.
I have a colleague who used to stream on Twitch, but I don't think he does anymore. Anyway, also, there's no such thing as a DC, a difficulty challenge. Instead, 1 to 4 is a failure. 5 to 8 is a mixed success, and 9 to 12 is a full success.
Yeah, okay.
Edward is going to have to come up with something.
So berries are 4, 8, and then up is complete.
It's
success.
increments of 4, yes.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
I guess everything above 12 is going to be like a critical success.
No, I want to order food because I only had a salad before I went to work out.
Okay.
Oh god.
More food.
After all the players have corrected the characters and set their skills gem and blah, 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 blah. Playing the game.
Just for the people, what these are the instructions.
And now I'm going to write up a little setting.
You have 5 minutes to jot down notes and ideas before the game begins. Damn, this thing is tight.
Boy, what did I get myself into? Being creative, not my thing. I
We
can
had
be
to
creative with my hands, not with words.
We had to find something you were terrible at for once.
Well, you did it.
We succeeded.
Bagel has been a scaredy boy today.
Aww.
And there were men in front of the windows again because they were fixing the walls outside. And
Lit-
Bagel is like a scaredy cat at that point.
Of course he is.
I love him, but he's a huge himbo.
Same as Tabasco, who's been just sleeping outside because he was like, nah,
Yeah,
I
but
don't want to sleep
Tabasco is not
inside.
an anxious himbo. No, he is a.
Stupid himbo.
Well, that's the definition of a himbo, isn't it?
Exactly. Tabasco can be anxious when the doorbell rings.
Yeah, I get that.
So
Bagel
you
just-
you are also anxious when the doorbell rings.
Bagel just like whenever the doorbell goes, his ears peek up, his eyes go wild. Like he keeps sitting still in the bed. Like he looks around, like what's happening, but he doesn't do anything.
What's
And
going
when I walk
on?
when I will walk towards the door and I get the food, I turn around. He's always standing there in the hallway, just looking.
Just
It's like food? Yeah, that's a cat for you.
Just walking in, eating food, and then walking out again. That's how it goes here.
And then that you got adopted by a wild cat, so you know.
Exactly. And yeah, Jeff, edutainment is already been provided by you. I really had to Google the Peter principle. And then after Googling, it's like, oh yeah, of course, that one.
Also, it's halfway through the month nearly.
And tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day.
Yep.
I hope that makes you feel lonely.
Oh, it does.
Oh, it already
I'm
was.
going to spend my Valentine on the archery range, so don't mind me.
I'll be climbing.
No, at the end of the month, I should be able to be getting my bows. Still very excited about that.
Hey. Almost done making them.
I'm making my own again as well, so you know.
Think about your character's personality and desires. Oof. Yeah, indeed, Jeff Pizza's Cupid is shooting people on Valentine's Day with his bow. It might be illegal.
Notes, and I think I've got a bomb story on my hands right here.
Ooh.
So, let me set the scene. Oh, we haven't described your characters, by the way. I'm just gonna assume that Dimitri is a bit on the shorter side.
Exactly.
Doesn't get a lot of sunlight. He's very pale. He has like thick glasses. And he's got like a button-up shirt, some overalls, and a notepad, and always carries a bag with him. Vladimir, meanwhile, always wears a tank top and like long cargo pants where he stashes all of his supplies. And for some reason, he can always summon a gun from anywhere. And like, he's tall. He's got a bit of stubble on his face. He's got like dark hair and brownish skin. Anyway, you're both huddled up in a thick blanket as you sit on what appears to be a tram, and you awaken in a strange place. Please give me a roll, both of you.
Ooh.
Just a straight roll.
The 2
4.
dice, 1 dice.
2 dice, I
Yes,
think.
on the 2d6.
Okay. 8.
Vladimir, you awaken first. As you find yourself on a little bench, huddled in a blanket, on the bench in front of you sits the small and meek Dmitri that you don't have any strong feelings about. And you can see in the background, you can see coniferous trees, pines, firs, you name it, just kind of whizzing by as you see the grayish clouds in the sky. And you find yourself on a little rail shuttle going through the wilderness. What do you do?
I look around the car to see what's around.
Mm-hmm. Give me a reading check.
That is 8 plus 1, which is 9.
It's a mixed success. You find a bunch of notes scrawled on some crates, and you can barely make out the handwriting, but you can tell that you're supposed to put food in there and supplies. And you also find a note that says, "I think you're handsome," signed F, or whatever the Cyrillic equivalent of F is.
It's just F.
F. And you remember that you were sent on a mission by the Council of Students to find some supplies you were running low. You have been fending off for the past few weeks, living in the school with the other students. It's been going well. You've been starting to get into agriculture, but there's some supplies that are rather rare that you can't get on your own. So you've been sent into the wilderness to find an old bunker. And as you realize this, looking at the crates that you will have to be filling somehow, Dimitri, you wake up. And just as Vladimir before you, you see the wilderness whizzing past. You see some birds. You see some trees. You could swear you could see like a big stag strutting through the woods, prancing, as you said, and you notice that the train is actually slowing down. What do you want to do?
I wanna suffer in silence while the train comes to close and I take note of my surroundings.
That's very funny. Please give me a suffering check.
That's a 4. That's a failure.
Hmm. Let me just chew and swallow. Yeah, the loneliness becomes unbearable. The boy who's in there with you, Vladimir, who you have no strong feelings for one way or the other, he seems to be ignoring you, kind of just doing his own thing, and you're starting to feel a bit bored, and it starts gnawing at you. You've successfully suffered, and
Oh, I feel that
on your next
suffering.
suffering check, you get +1. But however, it's not it's not an unlearning suffering because you know that you've been on the road for a while now, and an end is in sight. So you're both awake. You have say 5 more minutes until the tram stops somewhere in the wastelands. What do you want to do?
Hmm.
Uh, I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a piece of gum, start chewing it, and ask Vladimir. So I get why they brought you, but why am I here?
First of all, give me a chewing gum check.
Oh, that's a 5.
You try to say, "Why did they bring me here?" But your jaw gets stuck as the chewing gum is a bit stickier than you expected. You have a pizza. Please roll me a Soviet history check.
That's a 9.
You have a vague. Oh, that is a success, isn't it? A full
That's a
That's a
success,
success.
yeah, it's
success, yeah.
+8.
Very good. You of course know that the Soviet Union is not just built on the workers, but also on the intellectuals and philosophers that make up its ideology. And you know that what you are cherished for your skill and brawn, um, you're not, say, the smartest. And so they sent Dmitri with you because even though he is unskilled at most things that are important, he is incredibly intelligent. And if you ever find some kind of riddle or a locked door, he will be very good at like dealing with that and getting into places that maybe you couldn't get into yourself.
As the old Greeks used to say, if you separate strength and intellect, you'll be led by idiots. But you'll be led by the weak and fought for with the idiots.
I'm guessing I'm
Um,
the weak.
Amazing.
yeah, I butchered that so badly. I, s- I respond to that and then summon a random gun to put in the resource machine.
The resource machine, you mean the supply
The
crates?
supply is great.
You put a random gun. You don't want to keep it for yourself or give it one to Dmitri.
Oh, no, I was just checking what's inside the crate.
All
Well,
right.
you said I said randomly can summon guns, so I'm going to abuse that skill left and right.
Obviously, yes, of course, of course. I gave you that and I wanted to play with it. Oh. You can see that the wilderness around you is getting thicker, but also it is whizzing by a lot slower now. And finally, you arrive at the station called Krumpak Forest Station. And you depart from the shuttle, taking all the crates with you. They're not that many, they're like 3. And you put them out of sight in the station, and there's a signpost written in a very classy font, but it's kind of hard to read from all the wear and tear over the years.
Oh, you mean just cursive Cyrillic in general.
No, they put cursive on there, but it's like highly stylized. So you know that very folksy kind of classy font they use for German things.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's that, but for Cyrillic.
The Cyrillic handwriting, like cursive, is just loops. It just it's like a line of loops, and somehow people can read it. I don't know how they manage it, but I can't do it.
It's all loops.
It's
Just-
all loops.
It
And
just falls.
both of you can give me a reading check to find out where you're going.
Okay, that's a 0. Oh, that's an 8.
8 plus 1, 9.
Auntie, you make out enough to know that the bunker you were looking for is kind of close by. Like this, the shuttle was made as a supply line to kind of get there. Pizza, you know that is exactly 5 kilometers. They use kilometers, right?
Yes, they use kilometers.
There's exactly 5 kilometers due east. But you can see that the forest road used to be asphalt, but it's kind of cracked in places now. And you can also see that it's beginning to dawn, and you've slept the day away in the tram. You can also see the station. It's a little hut. It's got some supplies inside, some medical supplies, a tire iron, an axe, and some blankets. So what do you want to do? Do you want to carry on, or maybe settle down for the night?
I would settle down for the night.
About to say, I think it's not smart to carry on at night when we can't see in the forest. So we best settle down.
But I do grab the tire iron and axe.
And you keep them to yourselves, do you?
Yes.
You don't want to give anything to Mitri to
No,
him himself.
it's mine.
Give me a presentation check, Vladimir. No, a socializing check.
Okay. Well, that was 6 minus 1, which is 5. So
Ooh.
You can add 1 to your socializing, so now you have +0. And also, you've done something evil, and the powers that be have noticed it. That's all that happens for now. Dimitri, what do you want to do? Do you want to settle down in the cabin and just kind of hunker down for the night?
I would like to try to gather some supplies to sleep through to get through the night comfortably. To
Ooh,
go out
right.
and find some food and some wood.
You want to go for a forage.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a gatherer, not a hunter.
You're going to use your scientific mind to make out the most risk-free path to find the supplies, and you're going to try to figure out where you find them the fastest. So please give me a math check.
Oh, right. That's a 6 plus 2, so that's an 8.
So medium success. You managed to find like a handful of hazelnuts, a whole apple that's pretty fresh, and a squirrel that decides to sit on your head. It doesn't fulfill any practical purpose. It doesn't want you to eat it, but it's just sitting there now.
Hmm.
So you return to the cabin with some food and a squirrel.
Head's warming. Boop. Squirrel on
I
head.
posted an example of cursive Cyrillic.
Nice. That is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a paracetamol, pretty sure. That's just how
And
you.
with that, you hunker down in the cabin for tonight. And as you're about to drift off, you hear a sound. So please, either of you, give me a suffering check as your anxiety grows. To try not to lose.
Either or both.
A suffering check.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but the
one
question
of
is
us or
either
both of
or
us?
both.
Both of you.
Okay. Because he said either, which means something different.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I rolled a 12.
I rolled 6 on my suffering.
And you aren't able to do anything as. Wait, that's a mixed success, isn't it?
6
I
is a
think
mixed
it's just a
success.
failure at 6.
No.
Four and
Below-
lower would be a
Four and
failure.
lower.
Right, it says here like
So-
yeah, I'm
You
looking at
hunker
the
down
rules.
in a corner,
Yeah, I'm
gra-
looking
gr-
at different rules. Sorry.
kind of covering yourself with a blanket, trying to stay ready for what comes next. Bloody, you immediately get your gun out and aim it at the noise you heard. And outside, through a window, you can actually see a tiny figure pushing past. When suddenly, a small creature bursts through the roof and grabs Dimitri and has a knife to his throat, where it says to you, "Don't move, or he dies." What do, Pizza?
I ask him what he wants. What do you want?
I want you to come with me. Put that gun down.
Not until you let go of my friend.
It seems we've arrived at an impasse. So how about a deal? You put that gun down, and I don't slice him up like a pig.
Well, tit
So
for
please
tat.
give me a socializing check for whatever you want to do next.
It was -0 now, so I can do roll, which is 7.
Oof.
And what do you say?
Tit for tat. You let him go first, and I'll put down the gun.
Can I
Do you
help
want
it?
better? I do you want better? You drop it and then you kick it over to me.
No, then I lose my advantage.
The knife in your throat gets a little bit closer, Dimitri. As you let, please give me another suffering check.
That's a 4.
You let out a long, pathetic squeak.
This is surely not needed.
Put down your gun, cowboy.
It sounds like you need me more than I need him.
Sod it all. Here, you can have him. And he lets go of you and kicks you down. Surprisingly strong for somebody so small. And when you get a look at him, you can see that it is, in fact, a toddler wearing camo gear. Or improvised camo gear, rather. And he is... he is so small, but so angry, that he cannot believe you were just nearly mugged or killed by this little man. And you drop down your gun, and he puts away his knife, and he says, "Right, we got you surrounded. Whatever you do with me, you can't stop all of us." So,
Can I
you
do a
want...
math check to try to count how much there are in the woods hiding?
Absolutely, please give me a math check.
That's a 6.
You barely passed it.
Yeah, indeed.
More than a dozen, less than 2 dozen.
Ooh. I whispered that to Vladimir. Like, there's like between a dozen and 2 dozen of them in the woods, all waiting on us.
Oh, and much more on the way. So, let's get out of here nice and easy.
I mean, you could try that. But you'd lose at least 6 of you. Do you really want to try that?
Please, give me a chewing gum check as you're trying to chew out this toddler.
So that's an 8.
Ooh.
That is a mixed success. You can hear something coming from above, and you step aside right in the exact moment where another toddler drops down next to you, confused as to why he didn't hit you, as to why she didn't hit you. And she looks up at you, and she's just this tiny girl with pigtails and a Bowie knife in one of her hands. Ah, damn it! You goofed it, Boris! And Boris, the first toddler, says, we can't get them all, can we? Well then, it seems we failed. And you can see a little tear welling up in his eye. Oh, not again.
Oh.
You say that out loud, Dmitri.
Yes. I have poor
Please,
socializing.
I was gonna say, what am I gonna make you roll for that? A presentation. Roll me presentation,
Ooh.
please.
Ooh.
As you try to present yourself as benevolent.
That's a 6.
The child just keeps weeping but doesn't openly start sobbing as he just kind of makes for the door. Not slow, like he's not running. He just kind of drops his little knife, and the girl that's joined him just kind of pats him on the back and says, "Okay, we'll be waiting outside. We've got something we want to talk to you about. But play nice. Don't worry." And they leave.
I walk to the knife, pick it up, and give it to Dmitri.
Ooh, thank you. I now
For
have
Give
next
me a
time,
Soviet
so you
history check, please, on the knife. Dimitri.
can... 8.
That's
That is a
6 for me.
partial.
You keep rolling sixes. How does that happen? All right.
5 and 1.
Not bad enough to fail, not good enough to completely succeed. You know that this knife was made in a very specific cutlery factory that went bankrupt about 50 years ago. And you can see that it is actually made out of pure silver. But no more than that.
I wouldn't happen to have any knowledge on why we want to have weaponry made out of pure silver.
No, it's cutlery. It's not
It's
a
just
weapon.
cutlery, yeah.
It's
It's not a proper knife. It's like a
I mean,
Yeah, it's like a butter knife.
butter knife.
Like a
a
vegetable
butter
knife.
knife. I was about to suggest maybe like a steak knife. But,
Yeah,
Yeah, steak knife, a vegetable knife. Something like that. Something like that.
not even a
And you are once
potato
again
knife.
alone in a cabin. This time you're sure that it is surrounded by about 18 toddlers who have given up on ambushing you but still want something from you.
um. Well, Dimitri, do you want to go outside and talk to them? I'm a bit too awkward to do this.
And you're asking me. I can try, but not sure it's gonna go any better on my end. So yeah, I go. I try to go outside to the toddler in charge.
You find a very dour-looking child of indeterminate gender, and they look at you and they go, "Ah, so you're the brave one, huh?"
I wouldn't say that, but I'm the one who's willing to hear out what you want from us.
Give me a chewing gum check as you're trying to chew his words.
That's 8.
A success.
That is a mixed success once again.
Yeah.
And he thinks that's kind of funny. So no, they think that's kind of funny, so they start chuckling. Well, it seems we're no match for you, even though we're very well trained, I assure you. But you see, we've been living out here for about 6 months. Well, parents couldn't find us, and then they were gone. And we're trying to figure it out. And also, we're running low on sweets. And we're assuming that the bunker nearby holds many answers as well as treats. And if you help us, there's something in it for you as well. My scouts will show you the way, and you will do the rest. How does that sound for you?
If you can guarantee us a safe passage back and forth, I think we
Oh,
might have a deal.
make no mistake, my fellow toddlers are as willing to kill as any of you, but our little bodies have their limitations. And you hear a little guy just start crying because it's too cold.
Oh,
Hey, don't patronize us
you don't make it
so
very
much.
easy.
Uh, anyway, what do you say? And they give out a hand,
I
a tiny armored hand.
I also reach out my hand, spit in it, and shake the toddler's hand.
That's disgusting. Anyway, come to our camp. We will give you some supplies for the night, and in the morning we'll be off.
All right,
So,
lead the way.
and you go off. I'm assuming
Yeah,
Vladimir follows you and summons
I'll
yet another
inform
gun just to
Clodomir
be safe.
instead.
Yes. Yes. Duh.
Yeah.
Duh.
One moment. In the morning, once you're stocked up on a little bit of water and some trail mix, you go out, led by a small girl with a long ponytail, and you wander through the woods for approximately 3 hours before you notice the big stag from yesterday, standing still, looking at you, waiting for a move. And the child stops in it for a moment and says, "Look, big one. Don't move too quickly or you spook it." So, what do you want to do?
I guess inspect the statue.
No, the stag.
The stag. Oh,
This could be a good use for a random gun.
so that's like I take aim.
Roll me a shooting check. Finally.
Stag.
Stag.
Yeah, I heard statue, so yeah, you know.
Stag you.
Stag you.
Okay, what is it?
It's 6. I rolled a 4 plus 2. I barely made this.
You hit it somewhere in the chest, and it recoils in pain and runs for a few yards before it finally drops down. And the kid goes, "Fucking Red! You killed him! Let's go get his pelt!" And she runs ahead into the underbrush. And as soon as she runs away and gets into the fern, you miss her. She leaves your eyesight because she's just so small.
Shall we follow the blood trail and find the body?
Probably.
Oh, you
Yeah.
don't have to. The child is so bloodthirsty it has already like found the corpse and started tearing at the fur.
That's nasty. That's nasty.
Nasty.
Ugh.
I mean, we can skin it and take the meat for food for long term. But we probably should cook it first then.
Whatever you do,
Go
you
ahead.
can't go on without the scout.
Yeah, go ahead. That's not. Oh, no, thanks, no. I do
Why
not
did you
need to
give
be
me?
involved in this.
Why did you give me a suffering check?
Why do I keep rolling suffering? Oh wow, I roll a 12. No, 10. A 10.
10? Okay.
You fully succeed in suffering and you do not throw up.
Oof.
Actually, you realize something about this little culture of feral children, and it must have something to do with the bunker. Something in the proximity of the bunker must just make these children more intelligent, but also more bloodthirsty in a way that you can't quite describe. But you do know that you're getting closer to the bunker and its strange influence. Peter, you go to skin the elk, or stag rather, and please, give me a Soviet history check to know the classic way of skinning a deer.
8. Mixed success.
Mixed success.
Mm-hmm.
You skin the deer, and you get about half of it. The rest is just kind of unusable, as the child has already kind of pulled on it. what you're left with is about 6 pounds of pelt. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
A couple of bones and 1 antler. And if you want, you can also take the meat, but you don't have any way of storing it.
We can make a pickaxe out of the antlers.
This is not Valheim.
It's close enough.
And actually, as you notice, there's a tag on the stag's ear. Give me a reading check.
10. Success.
A full success.
Yes.
You know that you are not just in Krupak Forest. You're in the former district of Karalniev. And you know that the psionics programs actually started here, or were rumored to start here, and you know of a few telepathic children that nobody really wants to deal with. Some of them are in leading positions, and they all come from this district.
You're probably more, well, if I want to be a nerd about this, you're probably more talking about an oblast, which is a larger area, which is like a more like a smaller province.
Oh, sorry. See,
Yay.
the former Soviet state that I live in called them districts, so that's what I call them.
And districts are
An
smaller
oblast, is
part.
it?
Oblast is
Oblast.
like a smaller and larger part. Oblast, the districts are a smaller section of an oblast.
I don't even remember what I named it, but thank you.
Pizza rolled an actual Russian history check in real life.
The Beryliev Oblast. Lots of spooky rumors going on here. Anyway, you pick up the tag, you pick up the horn, and you pick up some pelt, and the little child looks at you with amazement and says, "You are so badass. No wonder you beat us yesterday." And then she starts running with the energy that only a toddler has.
Oh god.
And as both of you try to keep up with her, eventually you come to a little mound in the forest. And in the mound, there's a little concrete inlet, roughly rectangular, and then you come to a reinforced door with a numpad in one of the walls.
Alright. I wanna try to read on the numbers of the pads to see which ones are used more than others.
Ooh, that's very good. Give me a maths check.
Ooh. Oh, that's a 6.
Mixed success once again.
I'm
You
rolling
can tell
low.
that the 1 has been used most.
My mediocre man.
Mr. Mediocre, yes.
The 1 has definitely been used most.
Alright.
And the toddler goes, "I don't know what those symbols mean. I think that's a 2."
Is he
And then
obviously
and
pointing
then,
at a 4?
And then she goes to Vladimir and starts pulling at the belt, trying to get it off of his belt. "Let me have it." Well, then she gives up and just kind of sits in the grass, looks at the sky. So you've arrived at your destination. This is the bunker that holds the supplies that both you and the toddlers want, and maybe it'll hold some answers.
First thing I do is retrieve the knife from Dimitri, cut a small section from the belt off to give to the small kid as a cape.
The kid is over the moon. It starts running through the forest in great circles, and she disappears sometimes, but she's quickly back. So
And then
you've just made her day. But also she's
I
covered in blood now and kind of smelly.
Oh god.
I return the knife to Dimitri.
Right. So you've got in front of you still the locked door and a numpad with the number 1 being the clicked most.
Yes. First I'm gonna try only once, so 1, 1, 1, 1, and then I'm gonna try all other permutations possible with a 1 in it.
So like 4 digits, and you have only one figured out so far. So,
So-
it's a 1 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000.
Yes. Dimitri knows this. He's still
Anyway,
gonna try. But
you
he's
can
gonna
see,
try
though,
the
that,
1, 1, 1, 1
the
first.
symbols on the numpad do not actually look like the numbers you're typing in. And please give me a reading check.
Oh, that's yeah, that's 2. That's a failure.
You try to make it out as much as you can, but for some reason you put in 1111, and the numpad says FB25. Oh, so something must be wrong.
Vladimir, I can't make heads nor tails of this. Have you any ideas?
I take a look at the numpad itself
Mm-hmm.
and want to do a reading check.
You want to do a reading check? That's very
Reading check, yes.
interesting. Yeah. Go read the numpad.
I roll a natural 2 plus 1. So that's a 3.
Try to make out anything, but all you
So-
can really get is that the one has been used most.
Well, this means my.
And the more you look at it, the more they seem like numbers until all the numbers actually start looking like one.
Okay, so I guess my reading check goes now up by 1 permanently.
Yes. The little scout comes back to you and says, "Why did you press the 2 so much? I don't think that's it. I don't think you're that smart after all."
I thought. Wait, that's
Anyway,
all the what?
have you tried just pulling the lever over there? And she points at the lever in the big door.
How did we miss the lever?
Very bad reading checks. Or maybe it wasn't there until now.
I'll give the lever a try.
Please, as you try to endure in... it kind of reminds you actually of rope climbing.
Oh
You try to climb
no!
on top of the lever that's way oversized, and you just kind of hang down from it, trying to get it to fall down. It's very rusted over, and it doesn't want to budge. So please give me a rope climbing check.
I rolled 2 2s, -2, so that's
It's a
2.
0.
No, it's 2.
It's a 2, okay.
I'll only have 2s for you. 2, 2, 2, 2.
Actually, you're very successful in that it snaps down and it smacks you down with it. So
Ow!
you painfully smack down to the ground. And you see stars flying over your head. And you also hear a faint voice in the back of your head saying, "That wasn't very smart."
That's the last time I tried stuff like that. Did you hear that?
I heard nothing, but maybe you should sit down against the wall there. And I help him to get to the wall.
Time for a little nap.
And you both hear a voice in your head now saying, "If you want me to let you in, you should shake the girl. I don't want her inside, getting her little bloody fingers and everything." And indeed, the child has now got her hands bloody from the pelt she's been wearing, and she thinks it's the coolest thing in the world. She thinks she's like a little barbarian.
Hey, little girl. Like the stack is still there with all its meat. Oh, hang on, food.
Food. Why
Okay,
is
back.
everyone eating at 9 p.m.?
Because I'm hungry. I'm a hungry boy. Girl, you should probably get your friends to pick up the stack and cook the meat. So, and we all will stay here and look around, try to get in.
Please give me a socializing check.
Oh, hang on.
I was wondering if Pizza's having pizza for dinner.
I'm having pizza for dinner, and he's delicious.
I has food now. I have a Turkish pizza, which is
Ah,
socializing check is set. So that's a 6.
Okay.
and the child says, "Okay, but promise me you won't leave. We need to find you again, okay? Also, I think you're cool. Bye." And she runs off with the speed of a fucking what's it called? Cheetah.
A very tiny cheetah.
Yep.
Was she always this fast?
Yeah.
Okay. Oof.
But you know from your insights that something in this area is influencing the children to be smarter and more savage.
But not faster.
No, she's just running all day, so she's very good at it.
Oof, thank God.
Little marathon runners, you know.
And you hear that the numpad, once the child's out of earshot, gives a small bleeping sound, which you then realize is bleeping.
I just wanted to say this is gonna be music, right? I mean,
It is a Soviet anthem.
exactly.
It bleeps the Soviet anthem, and smooth as butter, the lever flips back up, and the door silently opens. You're free to explore the bunker.
do, Vladimir, do you have something we can light a fire with for a torch or something? In case
At the
of-
moment, I really do not have anything.
Just summon a fire gun, dude. I don't want a
Flamethrower.
better game, but
Flamethrower.
just summon a flare gun, dude.
But what I could do is use the blankets we used yesterday, wrap them around a branch, and light them on fire.
Yeah. That's good, then I can.
Okay, as
I'll
you
hold
try
the
to
torch.
do this, please give me a chewing gum. Check
Okay.
as you're chewing this idea through your head. Try to convince yourself. of it.
Seven.
You roll a 7. You sure do make this torch out of this blanket. What you don't realize is there was a fireproof blanket, so it takes a while to take fire. There was a reason that it was in the cabin. Anyway, you go inside, and you find a very dim light coming from the ceiling, and you find that the light bulb has been hanging there for quite a while, hundreds of years probably. But I can tell it's proper Soviet handcraft because it's still working on like one of those burning wires that's been lasting this long. And you descend down into the bunker until you eventually come into a big room that has 3 doors, one in front and one each on the left and right.
Also, on the light, it's probably wolfram, which is tungsten in English, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say it's wolfram, but yeah, tungsten. It's a tungsten wire that's burning,
Yes.
and it's been burning for 100 years because it's just the ghost of Stalin keeping it lit.
You joke. There is a light, like a 100-year-old light somewhere in the United States, which is basically just a. This is just a random fact, I know. It's
Yeah, but it's not being lit up by the ghost of Stalin. It's being lit up by, I don't know, the ghost of Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton.
The ghosts of Stalin.
But you said hallway with 2 doors?
3 doors,
3 doors.
excepting the one you just came through. Let me chew down. You're in kind of an office room, or maybe like a reception area. There's a desk in front of you. It's very wide. It has a computer screen standing on it. Behind the desk, there's a door. It's kind of a reinforced door. It's very tight. And to your right and left, like to each of those walls, there's a mahogany door.
First, I walk towards the desk and start rummaging through it, looking if there's anything useful.
Please give me a. There would be a reading check. Is it trying to read the room?
That's an 10, actually.
Okay. Because I wanted to ask
Yes.
if I can assist in a way with like a Soviet history check to know where they would store like critical information.
Give me a Soviet history check.
Oh, that's a 4.
You failed.
Yes. I am not good at this.
Critical information? Secrets? The Soviet government would never have secrets from the Soviet people.
Nah, never.
Please note down for your next Soviet history check, you get +1.
Yep, noted.
Pizza, though, you're very successful, and you find that you are in fact inside of a nuclear bunker, and in case the space Yankees ever try to nuke this planet. You also find some documents leading you to confirming your suspicion that this was in fact also a facility where they experimented on telekinesis. And you find blueprints of the area and found that at the very bottom floor there's a testing area and the children ward. Apparently they've been testing children. So, what's it gonna be?
Do you on the plans see somewhere where they would like store supplies or anything?
Actually, I'm assuming you're both looking at the blueprints at the same time. And you, Dimitri, can give me another reading check.
It's a 9. That's a 9.
That is a full success.
Yes.
Even out the door when you came in to your right leads down into a mensa and a cafeteria. I don't know. One of those things.
Cafeteria.
What do I call them in Russian?
Cafeteria.
The mess hall.
Cafeteria.
Cafeteria. In English is cafeteria is just flat, but in Russian it's like iya often. It's like a
Cafeteria.
Cafeteria. Anyway, when you go inside there, you should find a kitchen with with a pantry and some frozen goods, as well as some dry supplies, including a little note on the blueprints where it says taffy in a big scrawling handwriting that you didn't notice until now.
Does the handwriting look suspiciously childish?
Give me a chewing check as you're trying to chew that idea.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna get my money's worth for this
I lost
skill.
the die. No.
Go find your die.
No, I have another one.
I guess I die.
That's a 13.
A 13.
Where the hell did you go?
You know immediately that is one of your classmates who's gone missing a few weeks ago.
Ooh.
Weirdly enough, no one's ever talked about it. They just kind of accepted that she was gone. Nobody questioned it. Which makes you think that maybe some foul play is at work here. Anyway, your classmate is in this bunker, and she was probably the one who talked to you earlier. And she made a note to tell you that there's taffy in here. For whatever reason.
That's suspicious because the children also wanted
Candy.
sweets.
And you do know that the influence from the bunker is influencing the children.
Indeed.
And your friend is in this bunker, and she spoke to you in your head.
So it's
Taffy.
Taffy. Why would the bunker is the bunker still luring children in? Huh. I think we should be very careful.
Maybe.
Give me a Soviet history to find out the history of children's rights in the Soviet Union.
That's an 11.
You know immediately that the Soviet Union, while saying that they love kids because they're our future and they have to keep fighting for communism when we're all gone, you do also know that they try to enhance them a little bit. And while some of them might describe this as inhuman, they always try to be very pediatric about it. And if a child performed well in a test, for example, to test its telekinetic abilities, they would actually get like a piece of taffy or something similar.
Interesting.
I'm probably not getting this entirely right, but this feels accurate to the Soviet Union to me.
I mean, close enough.
This is totally not a propaganda stream right now.
No, we're not making fun of the Soviet Union at all.
Not at all. Pavlov's
I
children.
mean,
They have been conditioned, all right, with some taffy.
Oh no, you don't want to have Pavlov's children. Oh boy.
Yeah, I think we have them already.
I'm going to be honest. If you know what Pavlov actually did to dogs, it's kind of horrendous.
who was the guy who chopped off a dog's head and chewed it onto another dog?
Yes, and just fed it like tubes and kept it alive artificially.
Oh, that was Pavlov.
Yes, that was Pavlov.
that,
That is Pavlov.
I'm looking forward to you guys just coming down into the basement to find the Pavlov's child with two heads, and one's chewing taffy and the other one is chewing bubblegum.
Eduardo. No one. That joke got over the heads.
Yep.
Okay, boys, what's it gonna be?
I'm going to chew out an idea that your classmate might be like trying to care for the children, but be a distant influence.
That is an absolutely good chew. Please give it to me.
That's a good possibility.
That's a good chew. I'm going to coin that.
Good shoe.
It's a 5, so I barely make it.
Could be a possibility. Definitely. You will only find out if you take the door behind the table, the desk, and go down to the basement. Of course, you also have your mission to find medical supplies and food, and taffy for the children.
How much is this truth worth to us?
That's a good question. Give me a Soviet history check to find out the worth of ideology and ideas in the Soviet Union.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm rolling very well suddenly. That's a 12.
That is a full success, and you know that. It's always good to know more, but sometimes ignorance is bliss, especially when it can endanger the security of the state. So, do you really want to make yourself a danger to the state by learning something dangerous? Up to you.
If we want to figure this out, Vladimir, then we must make sure that they never learn that we know this, because otherwise they will hunt us if there's something fucky going on here.
What's a Russian equivalent of fucky wucky?
I don't know.
I don't think that translates.
If it's something cheeky breaky.
Cheeky
Fucky
breaky,
wucky.
bliad.
Cheeky breaky means surround them, doesn't it? It's
Cheeky
like
breaky-
chess-based military lingo, is what you told me.
Basically, cheeky breaky means nothing. It is complete garbage, like gibberish. It's complete gibberish. But even Damke means like the queen, Damke,
Yeah.
dame.
Yeah,
queen.
that's what I said. Like it's
a-
chess-based military lingo, isn't
it's-
it? And it
it
means
is-
surround them.
And from the Stalker series is basically the what's it called? The bandit faction that uses it, which is like tend to be lower intelligent people from poor backgrounds. So they kind of use made it up as indeed technical language, which is kind of coded. So yes, it means surround them.
Okay. It's educational today again.
This is the random stuff I've learned over time trying to learn Russian.
I think it's fun that your throwaway line at the beginning, I'm going to make everything in Russian just to make pieces suffer.
It's actually benefiting you.
It gave a lot of flavor to the game. Really cool. I think that's really cool.
Somehow I'm playing into his hand.
Yes.
I mean, both of you are playing into my hand. I'm the mastermind here. And you've just been standing in this reception room for the last 5 minutes chewing ideas. Do you want to do anything?
I'm looking at Vladimir. I think it's worth going down and finding out, but it's dangerous. Very, very dangerous.
We should probably do our primary directive first. Get the supplies and the candy for the children, toughies. Get my stacks near the door here, and then go down and see what's lurking behind the fade.
Okay, we.
As you say this, from the hallway you just came through, you hear very fast, tiny footsteps, tap, 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 tap,
Oh,
and they're getting faster and louder.
oh god.
You want to do anything?
I'm gonna cower.
Please give me a presentation check as you try to present yourself as a piece of furniture.
That's a 6.
If somebody came in and was looking for you, they probably wouldn't find you. Anyway, the person is looking for you. Out of the door storms the little girl from before, and immediately jumps at Vladimir to hug him. Friend, you're still here. You managed to open the door. That's so cool. What did you learn?
Well, we know where the candy is. We just have to find it.
And as you say candy, her eyes go wider than you've seen them before, which seems
Ooh.
impossible because she already had very big eyes. And she says, "Where?"
Food.
That's alright. We're just munching.
Well, it's in the cafeteria, which is in for one of these doors, so we probably will go there soon. We were just looking around to get more information.
That's pretty good. That's me saying it. I just got a message on Discord. I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted.
That's pretty good.
That's
No,
big.
And the
no,
child
no.
says, "That's amazing. Let's get the taffy." If you want to go to the basement, I think she'll be very cross with you. So you should probably go to the cafeteria first and pick up the Caffy Taffy.
It's only this toddler, the scout, that joined us, right?
You can ask her.
Do you happen to have any friends who can help us in case we want to carry stuff out?
Yeah, I can call for Domo. He'd come with me, and his sister. Pizza, give me a name.
Ludia.
And his sister Ludia is coming quickly as well, so they should be here with us in a second. So yeah, let's go get the candy.
We might need the help because it could be a lot of toffee.
I'm going to be so full.
Yes. Now let's go find the taffy.
And you go into the cafeteria. Sure enough, two little guys join you. And as you look for the taffy, and Ludia, who appears to be something of a bloodhound, immediately finds a big crate of its back of the kitchen. It is like a metric ton's worth of taffy, all in a big box, in small wax paper satchels.
It's all the tiny taffies, right? It's not like a big block.
Like one package is about the size of your fist.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
And you can tell it was manufactured in a place called Krivo. And it was manufactured about 50 years ago. Of course, you know taffy lasts a very long time, and also was made in a Soviet state, so it probably lasts even longer than that.
It's basically
Sure
just
enough, you
chewable
open one.
concrete.
If you were to open one of them, it would smell delicious. Be as sticky as taffy would be, and then when you would eat it, it would be kind of stale, and make you slightly more communist.
I wanna chew on a little piece to make sure that the children can actually get through this.
Nasty veshy.
I mean, the girl who's been accompanying you is already in it. Like she's already got like her face covered in taffy.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
And you try it, and as you eat it, you feel a warm feeling inside of you that you will only feel knowing that your comrades are with you and together you are fighting the bourgeoisie. And you now get a permanent +5 on all your Soviet history checks.
Ooh.
That's some good taffy.
Yeah, that's some very
taffy.
good taffy.
It's only for Dimitri.
Only for anyone who eats. You know what? Why did you eat one of the taffies and find out?
Well, okay. I try my hand at it.
Why didn't you fuck around and find out?
You put it in your mouth and make that it's extremely sticky, and I need you to make a suffering check.
Oh boy.
Chewing gum has helped you get to the taffy. That's what I was going for. Can I do a chewing gum check on
I
the
roll an
taffy?
11.
Ooh, 11 on suffering. That's good.
Sure enough, you're very good suffering, and you know it's trying to pull your teeth out, but you're smarter than the taffy. And eventually, you chew it down into bites that are good enough to swallow, and the taffy, though a bit stale, is still sticky and delicious, as all taffy should be. And you're going to get a +5 on all
Chewing
on
gum.
all chewing checks from now on.
Okay. Well.
And the children, they pack some of the taffy into their little satchels. They grab some of the dried meats, some of the cheese, a lot of dry bread, a lot of canned bread, some water, some lemonade, some tea, and they just haul it all into a big sack, and they slowly carry it out. Meanwhile, the scout stays back with you, looking at you expectantly. There's something else here, right?
Well, we also need medical supplies. I don't know. We have to check the map again to see where we can find those.
But first, we need to get these supplies up to the entrance so we can take them with us later on.
True.
So,
1 second.
Chewing. Please hold.
Chewing. I succeeded my chewing check, and I can now tell you that you need to make for me, please, a presentation check.
And voice. Me or Vladimir?
Both of you.
That's
that's a 4.
9.
I failed.
The scout punches your knee and says you're silly. But she listens to Dimitri as he relays this, and he thinks, yes, some band-aid should be good when I scrape my knees again. You know, I run very fast. Sometimes I fall down.
That
She looks
hurts.
kind of sad at this, and then she takes the map from you and says, it has a big cross on it. In
Oh,
this section here, I think that's where we find what you're looking for. She hands the map back to you, and the thing she pointed out was the room just above the lowest basement, called the medical ward.
oof. Yeah, we're going to have to get down then.
Let's go! I like down. And she runs ahead, back into the reception area, and waits in front of the
Clean
door.
your hands first.
Yeah!
Damn it. The girl's gonna be angry.
Right, and you turn to the door behind the reception, and unfortunately you find that it's locked.
I try. Is there a numpad again? To the
No, it's just a standard lock.
just a standard lock. Damn it! I wanted to try to play the Soviet anthem on like a keypad or something. You never know. I can try still do that with knocking on the door.
Give me a reading check, please.
A
As
reading
you
check.
find an inscription on the door.
Nah, nope. That's a 3. I can't read. This is some
It
archaic
says
bullshit.
something about value and Soviet pride and sticky.
Sticky.
Yeah, it says something about the viscosity of the pride of being from the Soviet Union or some shit. I don't know.
Bound by blood.
Yeah.
Or taffy. Bound by taffy. That's sticky. Well, it's speak about Soviet pride. Can I use my Soviet history check to learn what that could mean?
Yeah, please.
Because I have like a +6 in that, so that's 15.
The greatest pride of the Soviet Union was the Soviet citizen, and the greatest pride of the Soviet citizen was its child, our greatest
Oh.
asset.
Hmm.
I think they're just talking about how they're doing experiments on the children down there. But also, you can see that there's some sticky residue around the lock.
I
Uh,
I take the tire iron I grabbed from the station and try to knock out the door hinges.
In the
Yes,
meantime, I try
please.
to investigate what the sticky residue might be, which I guess is probably gonna mean chewing on it and tasting it.
No. You can give me an asking questions check.
Or an ask. I ask the residue what it is.
Give me the roll.
That's a 10.
You passed.
The
Yeah.
residue tells you that it smells like taffy in here.
I knew it!
I knew it. Do you still want to try the tie iron?
I still want to try a tire iron to knock out the pins from the hinges.
Okay, please give me a. Oh, that would be cheesy. I shouldn't do that. Give me a suffering check as you strain against the thing.
That's 8.
you you pull on a muscle on your shoulder. Kind of hurts for a while, but sure enough, you undo all of the hinges, all of the nails, but it's still stuck fast by some kind of sticky stuff. It's the residue. Something has stuck the door to the wall from the inside using taffy.
Hmm.
There's a lot of this with the taffy, with the children are already running off with the taffy.
They're coming back in regularly to get more supplies outside.
Yeah. How can we unstick taffy?
Well,
Maybe we should get the children to lick the door open. Smart.
Child labor.
Child labor. Soviet pride is child
yeah,
labor.
please give me a Soviet history check to find out about child labor.
Yeah, that's like 14. Child labor is Soviet pride.
You find out that in the early days of the Soviet space colonies, they wanted to lower the age of adulthood from 21 to 18, which they did, and then finally from 18 down to 16, which was actually turned down. And the reason given for that was that one of the greatest prides in the Soviet Union was children, and children should have time to be children, i.e., go to school, learn, socialize. So you know that on a pure ideological level, this isn't going to work, and it's not going to be how do you say,
Patriotic.
sustainable.
Yeah.
But the children might give you a good idea on how to solve this problem.
They are the future after all.
They are the future. The
I
future of communism.
I call out for. I wrote a name and I lost it.
Lydia.
No, not Lydia, the scout girl.
The scout doesn't have a name. She's just the scout.
Oh, yeah.
And she's already there, and she looks at the residue, which she immediately identifies as taffy, and says, "Have you tried chewing the door?"
Well, if you think that's a smart idea, we can try it. Chewing and entire door.
There's too much.
Do you want to bite into the door?
There's too much taffy to chew through.
Yeah, I'm afraid there's too much taffy. We need help then.
And as you say help, you can see Ludia and oh God, what did I name the other dude?
Dunin?
Boris? What did you
Well,
say?
he called one Boris, but he also called one Dunin, I think.
I think this is Durin, yeah.
Dunin.
Durin. So Durin and Ludia are coming, are looking at you and rushing towards the door and saying, "My, the entire thing is made of taffy, isn't it?" Sure enough, look at the door, and what appeared to be steel beforehand is actually just dark grey, shined to a polished taffy. But it's only as solid as unchewed taffy.
I think we can all together shoot through the door then.
I could use one of those big guns to shoot through it,
That's also a
says
possibility.
Durin, looking at you with wide eyes and looking at your gun.
Not everything has a solution in violence.
Okay, chewing it is, and the three of them get to chewing the door immediately, and like a bunch of termites through a plywood wall, they make a tiny hole in it that gets wider and wider, and eventually they're through. And at the other side, you see Ludia is in a deep food coma.
Aww.
Stop patronizing them.
It's okay. Free Soviet reference, have children eat their way into the hut, I mean to the door.
Damn.
I mean, we're probably going to encounter some kind of witch, so you know.
Baba Yaga is coming.
And you hear a voice in your head saying, "My,
This is going to be something Baba Yaga's the kind of story.
Indeed.
My, you've really put them to use, haven't you? I thought nobody would get through that door." Welcome in. And you can see the dull lamps that were in the rooms before here are replaced with what do you call them? Xenon tubes that shine a bright, faintly blue light on you. It's almost blinding, and they all go on at once with a loud clonk. And you hear a series of clonk, 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 as the entire hallway in front of you to the stairs leading down lights up. So, you've got three children lying next to you, all kind of trying not to fall asleep from the amount of food they just ate. And you guard the way forward through a wide concrete hallway.
I think we'll let the children take a little nap. Do we push ahead, Vladimir?
Yes, we walk down the stairs.
You
Stay
can go
safe,
first.
says the scout as she definitely passes out, but tries to look like she isn't passing out.
You stay safe as well.
And you go down, the stairs, and down, and down, and down, and you realize on the map it said not to scale. So you didn't. So what you thought might have been like a descent of 12 meters quickly turns into 24, and 50, and finally, after 75 meters, you arrive in the next room. I need you all both to make a suffering check, as you both have been descending a stair for the past hour.
That's an 8.
That's a 7.
Fine. A bit sore on the calves, and as you step into the room, you see a little medical ward. You see some surgery supplies. You see a big fridge full of medicine that needs to be cooled. And countless of other chests and drawers, all filled with medicine and whatnot. And at the end of the room, you find another door. Looking a lot like the reinforced taffy door, though this guy's, you're pretty sure it's not made of taffy. Also, it's slightly ajar.
So you say there's like a lot of medicine and cabinets for medicine in this room. Is there also file cabinets?
One.
I wanna read through
Kind
the
of a
contents.
niche to the side, you find a little alcove with a desk and a file cabinet and a computer.
I wanna read through the file cabinet to see if there's info about the psionic program.
Give me yet another Soviet history check, please.
That's 8 plus 6 is 14.
With a critical success, you know that you're right in the place. Here's where it started. Here's when they took their first slightly telekinetic child and trained him to be a full psionic. And while they basically took his childhood away and he had to be schooled in this confined bunker, he didn't turn out completely psychotic. And later, he actually became the chairman of the Soviet Party. That was very long ago, and He has been kind of fighting against the whole psionics program, but he couldn't stop it entirely, which is why the bunker still existed. And the last proper experiment was conducted 25 years ago. On a girl called Amelia.
Does that name sound familiar to me?
That is the big sister of your schoolmate who scribbled on the map. Her name being, of course, Raquel. Would it be Rachel?
It's not a very Russian name. If you want to have a Russian name, it's Tatiana is one. It's a good one. Tatiana.
I'm just going to stick with Rachel.
Okay.
Okay, what's it going to be?
As he's looking through the drawers, I go to the medical supplies and try to collect a small bag to have at least an emergency supply.
And you find a bag to put them all in, and you fit it over your back, and you got some medical supplies. You're exactly what you needed. So, you are in this room. You have when you came in, you had one door to your left next to the alcove that looks like an elevator, and right ahead you had one door that's slightly ajar with light coming through it.
Something has been pulling us forward.
Something is luring us, more specifically.
Is it a trap if you know you're gonna step into it?
Oh, it's still a trap. Could be an ambush. It's still at a disadvantage. That's the whole idea of a trap, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So I guess there's only one way for you guys to find out.
Are we gonna step into it?
I mean, an elevator is more dangerous than the door, probably.
Probably. Best to check
But
out the door then first.
There's only one way through.
And so you descend down into another staircase. This time only 2 flights, 6 meters, and you find yourself in what appears to be an observation deck, like a round balcony, a ring-shaped balcony, looking down into a domed kind of cell. In the middle is a chair, a very comfortable chair, and on it sits a young blonde girl looking up at you, and you hear a voice in your head saying, "There you are."
Here we are indeed. Just like you wanted.
Correct. So, are we getting out of here? I've got something I can only do outside of here, and I don't really have the means to get out. And I feel like it's time I made up for my mistakes.
Is this a panopticon?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's a reverse panopticon because you're looking in.
I knew the word, like the word was somewhere in my memory, so I had to look it up.
A panopticon would be if it was a single observation platform where you look out on all the cells, like it arranged in a ring around you. This time, there's only a single cell that's in the middle, and there's an observation deck on top and looking in on it. And you're on the observation deck.
Is it like something like this?
Huh?
Yes, that's a panopticon.
Oof.
The idea being that one guard can watch all prisoners at the same time, and the prisoners don't know when they're being watched. So it's a lot of psychological warfare at the same time, to the point
it's
where
very popular in the United States.
And also gulags.
Yeah. I mean, the Soviet Union and the United States learned a lot from each other because they both loved incarceration.
Damn, this is some weird shit.
Anyway,
we have one in the Netherlands in Breda.
that is terrible. I'm never going to the Netherlands. Thank you.
When are we going to Breda, boys?
We are not.
Ah.
Anyway, Rachel is sitting down in the panopticon observated cell. You're observing her, and she's looking at you expectantly and telling you that she has mistakes she wants to make up for.
Oh, it's a tourist attraction in Breda.
Yes, it's not in function anymore.
Okay.
That is this continued for a reason because it's psychological warfare and it's not humane treatment.
God has left the Netherlands.
It never been here.
They've been fighting him non-stop for centuries.
Can we get back to the game?
Yeah,
Because we have
sorry.
18 minutes.
Raquel, you said mistakes. What do you mean?
What do you want to correct?
See, I am 20 years and 11 months old. You know what that means.
Soon it is your time.
Soon it's my time, and I may be responsible for what has happened. And I want to undo it.
What does
What
that
do you
mean?
mean with what happened?
And how are you responsible?
Started when I discovered that I had telekinesis, and my sister, who is a government agent, she brought me down here to the bunker, and she made sure no one would ever ask for me. And I didn't realize how powerful I was. I made all adults disappear with my mind, including her. But they're not gone. I think I've trapped them in some kind of demi-plane of existence. And we can get them back out. I know how, but I can't in these restraints. And she indicates with her face, with her nose, the shackles that are binding her to the chair she's sitting on. I tried to get the children in here. I lured them in with a taffy that I knew was in here, but they wouldn't come. They weren't equipped for it. But now you're here, and you can free me.
If you're not able to get them out while you're in here, how are you able to trap them in?
I didn't trap them in here. They can go when they want. You can too, but I'm afraid the elevator is quite busted. Please don't leave me here.
One question though. Who locked you up here?
Was it your sister?
I don't know. I don't remember. They tried to wriggle me in here, and I got so angry that I completely blacked out. And when I opened my eyes again, I was fastened to this chair, and I can't remember anything.
I tried to get to her prison cell thingy.
Yeah. In the glass dome that you're looking through, you find that there's like a little trapdoor, like a little duct that opens, and there's a little ladder that goes down, and you reach it quite easily. You can see it's very bright in here, like the xenon lamps from above are just kind of glaring through the glass and illuminating everything. It's like you don't have a shadow.
I climbed through the trapdoor to get to her.
Yeah.
And
You see she is in a very it's a very comfortable chair. It's kind of a medical chair. She's got her legs up, they're not touching the ground. They're like kind of a leg rest. And she's looking at you expectantly. Kind of with a kind of terror in her eyes.
What do you think, Dimitri?
I think it's time to let her go.
And she sighs in relief. You feel a feeling of gratitude at the back of your minds.
But can you make us a promise?
Of course. Once I'm out of here, I can do anything.
That you will not harm us.
Why? Why would I harm you, Dimitri? You're cool. You let me copy your maths homework. And you seem okay. Bit of a weirdo. I don't get guns at all, but I think you're cool. She says this to you, Vladimir. You have to keep in mind, you guys are like in your late teens, and she's like, she was a teen when you last saw her, and she's just she's just a young adult now. So she's kind of in the same mindset as you guys.
I inspect her bounds thingy. Binds.
Yep, you inspect them, and you can see they are basically impossible for her to undo because they're knotted away from her hands, and the armlets are quite thick, so she couldn't get through even if she tried. You can see they're made of nylon, and they're kind of pressing into her skin in a way that is not quite painful, but not entirely comfortable. You have no idea how she's been surviving for all these months, but apparently she doesn't need to sleep or eat.
Powerful. While Volodymyr will probably try to remove her restraints, I wanna try to investigate if I can get the elevator to work.
You go back to the elevator and you find another numpad.
Numpad galore.
I'm about to say I'm gonna try to make the numpad beep in like a Soviet Union tune. No
And the
sleep, no
elevator
eat.
opens. The elevator opens with a ding.
No sleep, no eat. Must be a student. Yeah. She's been just in surviving on 50-cent ramen. Just one cup of noodles for like 20 years. And coffee.
In the meantime, I try to undo her restraints.
Um, okay, you're gonna use one of the knives, I presume.
Well, I have to take
You
it
picked
off.
up?
Well, I
You
can
took
use
Or
the
you
one for
can,
the,
you
axe.
can transform your weapon
took
into a
one for
bayonet or something.
you could use the axe.
Yes,
So you ask her a question,
I
please.
axe.
Please roll me an asking questions check.
It's a 5.
That will just hit.
My new
You
word,
undo them.
panopticon. No problem.
You kind of destroy the chair. You kind of see her flinch as you just start chopping at the fucking chair. But sure enough, eventually she's free, and she stands up on very wobbly legs and just kind of leans on you for support. And you've got a companion now. She's leaning on your shoulder. She's asking you to go on, and she projects her mind upwards into the story above and says, "It seems to me she has gotten the elevators to work. We should get out of here."
I pick her up and carry her upwards through the hatch that was there again.
I'm not going to make you roll for that. You successfully all go to the elevator. You get down into the reception area. Rafael is going to grab a bit of taffy and chew on it. And as you step out into the sunshine, as it is now late afternoon, she chews and she chews, and finally she swallows and says, "Yeah, I think this will be easy." And she snaps her fingers, and you hear a bunch of yelling from inside the bunker, which you thought was empty, as a woman of about mid-20s, who looks kind of like Rafael, comes storming out and says, "What have you done?" And she says to the woman who you identify as her sister, Amelia, "You know, children are the future. You shouldn't put them in cages. And unless you two still have something to say, now that you've returned to a world where all the adults have been returned, and everything is somewhat normal again, except for the band of feral toddlers, this is where we're going to end our session."
It's like suddenly, poof, every adult is back.
I
Panic.
mean, you need some kind of what is it called again? The magic gimmick thingy.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't make them disappear. She just trapped them in the demi realm where they couldn't interact with you.
MacGuffin. We need
A
a MacGuffin.
MacGuffin, yeah.
Well, the MacGuffin was the Baba Yaga.
I must say, this was amazingly done, friend. This is.
I expected
I came
somewhere.
up with all of this in 5 minutes. How
About
about
to
that?
say, like, you got a PDF of like 7 pages and just some random prompts from us, and you made all of this in 5 minutes. This is amazing.
I expected somewhere to like a random cat to show up and just lead us away to safety, as in the Baba Yaga story. But oh well.
No, that's my D&D campaign with the random cat.
We don't talk about the random cat. It's
We don't talk
magical.
about we don't talk about not Tom on this stream.
But yeah, this
Right.
was
Thank you
amazing.
guys for being such good sports. I feel like I was afraid that you, especially Pizza, would like be slow to warm up, but I think you enjoyed it in the end,
I
at least as much as I did.
The thing is that I struggle with these kinds of things to make up something without sounding repetitive and boring. So I try to add something
Funny,
to it.
you're supposed to play this game over the course of 2 hours, so even if you repeat yourself, you can't possibly repeat yourself enough that it gets like obnoxious. And I feel like even the bit where we all went, okay, let's chew on that idea. I think that was really funny, and
Yeah.
it kind of works well.
We got basically a catchphrase out of this.
I mean, in the end, even Rafael was chewing.
Memes.
For in case anyone's curious about what we played,
Oh,
uh,
we can post the link in the chat, I think.
indeed, it's like basically, I think it's good to in the whole thing of like the whole 1D&D controversy that's been happening and stuff. These are like a lot of these free or where you can donate RPGs on itch.io and other sites where you can play like these short, quickly. I think it's all based on the Fate system, indeed. Like you
Yeah,
say,
I think that's
Jeff.
something that Jacob said when he presented the game for the first time.
There's a lot of these tiny where you can quickly get going one-shot systems. So if you're interested in anything like this with friends, go check it out. Pay them the support because Lord knows a lot of good people there need it. But yeah, this like this very quickly get going systems are very fun and like you just saw, just quickly get going and you can do some amazing stuff with it.
I think I might just watch this VOD when I need to pick me up because it was really fun.
Yeah, indeed, that's really fun.
Meanwhile, halfway through, getting food and chewing away.
Oh yeah, just both of us just angrily eating pizza while role playing.
Oh, you kickstarted Fate, Jeff. Amazing.
Nice, Jeff.
That's
Well
a
then,
good move.
Ante, if you want to do the outro, I think I'm just about ready for a shower and a nap.
Yeah, I
Same.
think I'm not sure what much outro I can do anymore after this. Like this ended very amazingly. So thank you very much for all the effort put into this. Even though it states at the beginning everybody comes unprepared. But this was a lot of fun, a bit of an experiment, and hopefully next week we'll have Coolsty back. We'll see what we'll do next then. I'm hoping that it's again Valheim where we can tackle a new boss maybe or something or prepare for it.
We need to
Oh
prepare
yeah, I
for
mean,
it.
I just wanted to try this game out with you, and it was perfect because we weren't like an entire group. It wouldn't
Indeed.
take so long with just like 2 players and a GM.
So thanks everyone for joining us, and from now on, like stuff like this VODs will also appear on YouTube if you ever want to watch back, because normally on Twitch you can only watch back for a week for now. So I'm making this all last a bit more longer. So I
Yeah.
will link that at some point when I'm a bit done with cleaning and rebranding that up. So thanks everyone for joining us, and see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.